Hello and welcome to Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Dan Telfer from Little Debbie's Snack Cakes. Grab a jelly roll. They're good for you.
Thanks, Dan, for returning to the program to discuss minute 129, right? Correct? 129 of The Rise of Skywalker. Minute 129 starts off with Poe and Finn pointing at each other. They're not mad, they're just pointing. And it ends a minute later with a bloody and battered Rey pushing her way through a crowd of joyous freedom fighters.
Yeah, so I'm going to... This takes a lot of reading into, and we're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it is interesting that it's like Poe's, his celebration arc here is that he goes up to like his ex-girlfriend and it's like, she's like, no. And he's like, all right. And then he goes and he finds Finn and it's just like, you, I'll hug. And so it's,
yeah.
There's still a glimmer of hope for the Storm Pilot fans.
The first time I saw this movie, me and a couple friends, as soon as they pointed at each other, we went, kiss, 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 especially because we just had the gay kiss right before this, and it was like, nope.
Well, it is a little Freudian that they both point at each other. That's a little bit kind of like,
a little finger sword
subtle
fight.
Yeah. So, yes. So all the faux and pin,
you could go
all those people who wanted to see them together. No luck.
It's pronounced pho.
But we do see a tearful reunion between R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Yes.
Tearful?
Well, I was tearful. Let's put it that way.
Oily. An oily reunion.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this had to have been intentional. I don't know if you noticed, but C-3PO says, "Did you hear that?" when Rey's X-Wing is coming down. That's, of course, the first line in Star Wars is C-3PO saying, "Did you hear that?" So I got to give him a little bit of credit for that one. Somebody put the work in.
Yep.
Yeah. I was, if not for the Tatooine coda here, that could be the last line of this.
Yeah.
Which would have been a funny kind of like,
mess.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. But
yeah. That's what you should have said. Skywalker. Did you hear that?
Although it should have, have them pop out. But that also would have been more like if they surprisingly hadn't lost the Tantive before. If that Blockade Runner hadn't been blown up and they're all celebrating and then they're like, wait a minute, do you hear that? And then that shows up and they're like, hey, it's... then that could have been a good, because that's the ship that he's on when he says that. So, but yeah, regardless, there's more hugging, more meeting up.
He says, "Did you hear that?" And then a Star Destroyer is overhead,
he just nukes everybody.
And then you're looking up in the window, it's Babu Frick driving the Star Destroyer, and everyone's like, "Oh!"
But then he zaps them all with a Death Star laser. And like, "Oh, Babu Frick!"
Blows up. Dan, did you like Babu Frick? You didn't have any Babu Frick minutes, but
Babu Frick's fine. It's fine. I think it's fine. Like, what if with slightly more polite, salacious crumb? Fine. Go ahead. But like I said in my first minute, I just think there's like too many new characters I'm supposed to have a reaction to. I wanted an adventure. I wanted a plot, and there just wasn't one, and I got real bummed at this point. So you could bring Babu Frick in at this point.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that plot didn't make sense to me, and as just like a choice, and so whatever. For fun, Babu Frick's fun. At least it's fun.
Yeah, true.
What we do, so in the that what C-3PO hears is Rey showing up. Red 5 standing by.
Red 5
lands. And do we get that? Do they all three of them meet up yet in this, or is that in the next minute?
That's the next minute. Yeah.
All right.
You only see her at the tail end where she starts walking.
She's
out.
About to make eye contact.
Why was she so late? At the end of that minute, you saw her leaving with the Falcon and Poe, and then they all leave here, and now the Falcon and Finn have all landed, and yet Rey shows up like 10 minutes later. Did she have to stop somewhere?
God, it's so dumb.
Probably.
Or did she just wait because she wanted to make an entrance? She was just like circling around, like, okay, now that everyone's partying, that's when you come.
This isn't the funny answer, so apologies to fans of comedy. But she just had this inexplicable like moment where this dude who's been trying to murder her for 2 years became the love of her life and then died. Maybe she needed a minute. Maybe she was having like a Jedi funeral rites moment with him, or
so she just flew around an extra long time just to.
It makes it extra confusing, that thing you were saying from the novelization, Pete, where like she was like, and then it was like the dyad made them one, but it was okay that part of the dyad died, even though it was a once in a millennium sort of situation, and her soulmate, and he sacrificed. It felt good, That's kind of like she's coming here. Her boyfriend of 2 minutes died. He disintegrated when she kissed him, and like now it's like, okay, well, I'm happy to see my friends. Whatever. Maybe that's why she's late. She needed a minute. She's like, all right, well, gotta pretend my boyfriend's not dead. Don't want to have to explain to anybody.
Yeah.
I just made out with a genocider, so I guess I'm going to take a minute in the X-Wing and be like, all right, hype yourself up.
She had to take a pull over and update her status to it's complicated.
Yeah. Social media. It's hard for even a Jedi.
Well, before Rey does show up, but during the Finn and Poe having a moment, they get Poe says Poe found him, and though the pilot had been celebrating along with everyone else, Finn sensed some hesitation.
His force powers again.
General Leia, Finn sensed hesitation in Poe. And so, General Leia thought they'd destroy the Emperor at the Battle of Endor, Poe said, but he came back more powerful than ever. You think he might come back again? Said Finn. Maybe, said Poe. Staring off in Zori's direction.
I'm sure we will, honey. I'm sure we will.
Of course Poe would worry about that. He was acting general now, and like any good general, he was anticipating what fight still lay ahead. Or some other evil will rise. Evil always rises.
Let's keep our options open.
Yeah.
Let's not commit to anything.
Nah, says Finn. Not for a long time, anyway. Poe game.
I think eventually he's going to show up and it's going to be like Indiana Jones shooting that swordsman. Just going to be like, all right,
right.
Okay, all right, let's just kill him and get over with. He keeps showing.
Yeah, like what's left? Sheev's nose, like on a stick. Like he really just. There's not a lot of him left.
Maybe he'll come back.
Don't get me wrong. What General Leia did with Solo and Skywalker was incredible. Finn explained, heroic and brave, but it was just one small group against incredible odds. Poe began to smile and said, we're not just one small group. The Resistance is 1 million people, 1,000 places. Yeah, General Leia united a whole galaxy. This time it's for real. Poe's grin became huge and Finn wrapped his friend in a hug. And then
does Poe not realize they're not part of the Resistance anymore because they're not resisting anything anymore?
Right, yeah.
You get decommissioned after this point.
Yeah.
Also, doesn't it kind of undermine the fact that you said you never know, the ultimate evil might come back, but this time it's for real?
Yeah, right. I think we can rest easy knowing that evil is totally vanquished now. The other times they forgot and they underestimated, but now...
Yeah. Previously, it wasn't for real. Now it's for real. Will the same thing happen again? Yes, but yeah, it's interesting that also like that they're so like, oh, General Leia did this. Really? Remember when General Leia called that lady
and nobody answered? When Lando went and got people, that's when they showed up. But yeah, sure, give it to Leia.
I predict in the next movie, Poe is going to be like obsessed with the fact that he's like, I know that Palpatine's over in that next galaxy and we have to do something to stop him because he's going to come back and attack us. And they're all going to be like, oh, Poe, you're crazy. Long gone. And then
it's like Jaws 2.
Whole big... Yeah, exactly. Like, well, speaking of Lando, we get a little Lando family reunion question mark.
All right. Well, okay. That's the okay. There's 2 camps. I'm kind of a third. The 2 main camps are, is Lando hitting on this lady? Or is Lando thinking it's his daughter? And then I'm kind of in the third camp. It's just a poorly directed moment that is meant to imply Lando wants to go on an adventure with a young person and help him out. But I think it's so poorly spaced and timed, and I don't think it's the fault of either actor. It's just like okay, so is Lando like the creepiest old man ever, or is he like such
the kindest old
he
man
had
ever.
so many illegitimate children? This could be what, like, it's like that is what you assume because of the weird pauses and looks.
That is, I think you're right. The third option is the original intent, in that it's supposed to be because he has a couple of moments, at least in the book, in the expanded edition of Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, by New York Times bestselling author Ray Carson. He's had a couple of moments where he's like, I had a daughter and she was taken from me. And
man.
You think that it's maybe like, oh, is this his daughter? But then it's not, like, it doesn't play into that. It plays like he has a little internal monologue where he's just like, yeah, like, seems like it's over, but like, so that's good because no kids are ever going to get taken ever again, but still let's get these. There's a bunch of kids here who were taken let's find them their families. And it's basically like Lando goes on a crusade to bring all these ex-stormtroopers or whoever back to their families. That's what it seems like it's setting up. It's like the Lando and Janna adventures where they go kind of like find people, reunite people with their families, which sounds like a cool setup for a thing. Totally not. There's no inkling of that in the movie as appears on screen.
The dialogue was written by AI, basically.
Yeah. It shows up either. It does feel either one or the other. Either like, it's cornball that he's like, I had a daughter about your age, like, or the part of what makes it weird, and again, it's not, well, the music behind it. The music behind it, I have a hard time noticing the music usually, but here I'm watching and I'm like, wait a minute,
Absolutely.
what is that? Is that? And I had to go look it up to figure out, like, wait, what? I know this music, and it's the Luke and Leia theme from Return of the Jedi.
A family,
and so I'm like,
family.
I guess so. Like, is that what we're trying to convey here?
I do think they were trying to say, like, there's that level of connection and I feel like a better dialogue writer could have made this good. But this whole sequence, most of this movie, it's just this dialogue that's like, all right, sweeping string instruments in the background, and now these characters will declare as bluntly as possible what you should be able to tell by simply looking at the screen. And I think there could have been a line where they could have given Lando just something a little more realistic, where it could have sounded corny, but I would have loved if they took a risk with it and had Lando be like, oh, I want to know what system you're from because I had a daughter once, different system. Let's go find your family. Like if they gave him a line that tied it together, it would have been something you could try to empathize with or try to invest in. And this just feels sort of like, is he? Ew. What? What happened? You're kind of left with this. Okay, they wanted to give Billy D. Williams a moment. They didn't want to spend any time writing it. They have this new character, this young black woman they want to do some justice to. Let's just slop it in with this montage of nonsense with romantic strings in the background. Like, mess.
I said this a little bit when we met Lando earlier, and he has a line where they're going back to, the gang is leaving to continue their adventure, and he's like, "Hey, do me a favor, like, give Leia my love," and like, just Billy D. Williams just naturally has a certain kind of like, like that's just his delivery, and it's not, he's not trying to be creepy about it, but just like he has a certain.
That's why it's poorly directed.
Suavity. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I don't blame him.
It's like, his natural delivery is good, but like when you frame it in a certain way, it makes it seem like, oh, that's kind of creepy. Like then, and then here, and it's funny because then Rey's just like, you can give it to yourself. But here it's like, an extra, like when we don't have any background, we don't know, like we're not sure what the scene is supposed to do other than like, we've got his reading, which makes it sound like, well, why don't we find out? Like, coupled with the sweeping strings of like the Luke and Leia music, it's like, what am I supposed to feel here? I don't even know. What are you trying to do?
Her reaction is like, you can't quite tell if she's like, oh, how flattering this general is hitting on me, or is it like, is this my father?
she's a little more of a I don't want to say talented, but versatile actor, right? Because I think if you really look at her, I can read that she's trying to make clear what is meant to happen in the script. She's trying to go like, what are you saying to me? You would do that for me? I feel both seen and excited. You know, like she's got this look of just sort of like relief and pleasant, unsexual happiness. And I do think if they had leaned into the Billy D. Williams' strength with dialogue, I mean, I'm also pretending I'm an amazing writer. I'm fantasizing, give me a job. But I feel like they could have just given him a line where he's lamenting horniness past, where he's like, oh, like, what system are you from? Ah, damn, my daughter was from the blank system. Well, the reason I ask is I've always wanted to search. Let's start with you. Like, at least he's thinking about the way he used to constantly swing his dick around and hit every alien in the galaxy. They like acknowledge it. I don't know, play to it, but they really tried to be too efficient with the dialogue. Just blunt statements. Where are you from? Here. There? Let's go. That doesn't give you anything.
I feel like it's also kind of strange because I assumed they introduced Janndo to be kind of Finn's consolation prize for not getting
there's
Rey.
It's so sloppy.
But they don't never have any scene where they reconcile they discuss.
They turn
anything.
Finn into a puppy dog, just runs around. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we got this other character that you can you can interact with that. It's like, nope.
Yeah. Joanna Naomi Aki, the name of the actress who plays Janna. She was born in 1991, 8 years after Return of the Jedi. So to give you an impression of the age differential there.
Big.
Right. So even then,
Large.
so if she is his daughter, that means he had the daughter after the events of Return of the Jedi. I would have assumed any illegitimate children would be pre-Return of the Jedi.
Right. That means he was sowing his wild midi-chlorians for a solid 30 years.
Hey,
right.
There were the parties after the fall of the Empire. Man.
I think, after the once the rebellion became the new republic, I think a lot of the field generals were just kind of like, we don't really need you as much. Who promoted you for what reason?
Right.
Tanab? No, you can. All right.
you know, Lando used his authority. He abused it so bad. He would go to Nine Numbs planet and just be like, "Hey, nice lips, Celestian." Just.
They should have shown Lando reacting to the death of Nine Nunb the way Chewie reacted to the death of Princess Leia. It's like, no!
There's too much
really
going
upset.
on. They're trying to... I really would have loved if they would have gone simpler places with all of this. We already,
or just wheel out Lobot. You know what I mean? You'd be like, you'd be like Pike in the...
Exactly.
Right.
Perfect.
Well, does anyone have anything else to say about minute 129 before we...
that character should have been an older Enfys Nest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just change the character's name, it all works. That's what
idea of the timeline is all a blur, so I don't know, is that...
She would probably be in her late 50s at that time.
Boo! My idea didn't
that's
work
perfect
anymore.
for Lando.
Well, then, I don't know. Have Enfys Nest show
Lando.
up. Yeah, got it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, even if she's in her 50s, she's still 25 years younger than Lando. She could still be his long-lost daughter.
Here's my thoughts. Star Wars
I don't like having
different.
all the... Anyway, go ahead.
I was going to say, here's my idea. Just do Star Wars different.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I know I just said I don't notice the music much, but I also like that we got a little throwback of Rey's theme when she comes up, C-3PO. Did you hear that? I'm assuming he's talking about her music because she's blasting Rey's theme like dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee as she drives.
I love Rey. I love her music.
Yeah,
Rey's great.
And so it's fun to hear her theme as she comes back, and she gets that kind of like, and we don't know yet, but we're spending the rest of the movie with her basically. But yeah, nice little throwback, and it's fun when I do notice the music. Fun for me. Probably might not be fun for anybody else. Who knows?
It's usually pretty good
when I notice
when
the
you
music.
Notice it. Yeah. Well, all right. I guess that will wrap up minute 129 of The Rise of Skywalker. And I want to remind everyone over on our Patreon, the Ahsoka show is wrapped up. And we will be starting our new Saturday thing, the From a Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi edition. It's the anthology of stories about Return of the Jedi. the story of Return of the Jedi told from the points of view of minor characters, or not our regular heroes. And little teaser, the first chapter, I'm going to reveal it here. First story is about Moff Jerjerrod.
Jerjerrod.
So,
Jerjerrod.
Jerjerrod. The guy
Gil
who
Gerard.
needs more men when they're building the Death Star. So who knows what crazy adventures he's going to have over the course of this story. So go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon. Sign up and you'll get to join us each week as we discuss this book. And we will be back on Monday to discuss another Tomorrow, Friday, another Star Wars Minute.
Friday.